Hello everyone, Diane at Rose Haven Yarn Shop in Picton. Puppies. I did, I don't know how many I did actually, because I still have a few left and I've got some at home. The reason why I'm knitting those, and it's funny enough, last year I knitted a whole bunch and for the display window at the front, because for me Remembrance Day is something very special because my husband did 30 years in the military, still works on the base as a civilian now, but and my son, I was going to say my younger son, I only have one, but my son worked at Juno Beach, which is where the Canadian arrived in France in one of the World War II. And visiting him when he was working at Juno Beach made even more poignant souvenir memories for me regarding the puppies. So last year, like I said, I knitted a whole bunch of them just to put in the window because I thought they were very nice, and trying to find for me what looked like the perfect poppy design. And the one that I found was really nice. It was red like this, but she was putting a button. Anyway, all that to be said, that, you know, one customer came in, it's like, no, I'd like to buy one, and it's like, well, no, they're not for sale really, they're for display. And I've decided to knit some and to donate the money to the Legion, because the purpose of these guys is because I'm as absent-minded, like I lose them. With that pin, for me, does not work, the one that we get from the Legion. So all that to be saying that I knit a whole whack of them. You guys bought a whole whack of them, and this week I went and donated all the money that I got to knit those. So I dropped a $700 at the Picton Legion as a contribution to the poppy year. So next year I'm going to do the same. One thing that I learned this year, and maybe you'll be interested, is that there are purple puppies now, and the purple puppies are for the animal of the war. So the dogs, the donkey, the horses, and the pigeon that gave their life during the war. So next year I'll knit, I think, some purple one also, and again donate the money to the Picton Legion. Okay. What's new and happening? Well, this morning I had a class, and this morning I do have a lady that is working on her own thing. So sometimes that's just what happens, is that you have your own project and you are making your own project, but I bring you help, and that's what she's doing. The other lady, what she's doing is the Every Way from Andrew Murray, and this is mine. This is my Every Way. So the main color will be that teal, and so it's a zigzaggy design that you're doing 4 repeats. So now I'm doing it in the purple to come up, and after that there's sort of a little bit of color work. So it's kind of nice and simple to learn at the beginning because there's not a lot of it. So there's just a little bit of color work. Then you get a whole long section, and you repeat your 4 colors that you just did. So sorry for the paper. I'd just like to put things away as they come out of the bag. One thing at this time of the year that I always love to knit is those market bags. So see, this one is made out of different ends and bits of cotton, and I do begin them with the Emily Hawker cast on. So it's a crochet cast on that you're doing like a little bit like a pinwheel cast on, and yeah, so the bottom of the bag is increases, and then you get into this lace stitch and I cord to finish it. There's always one in my purse. You always need a knitted bag. Always get compliments when people are seeing my bags and stuff like that. I gave a lot away a few Christmases ago, and yeah, it's a fun knit. It's kind of a fast one too, because there's a lot of, like, the lace stitch looks very good, but it's fast to do, right? So anyway, what else do I have? Oh, November Gnome is done. She is a cutie. She has mittens. She does have mittens. So I did have some wool that had a little bit of glitter. That's from Koigu, and so nice to knit with the Koigu. She's very cute. She's got, the pattern comes with the instruction to make knitted braid. I've got to admit, I'm always, as you know, I'm always making several ones every month, and yeah, so I prepared the braids for the other one, so I'm not going to remake this one. It was a lot of work, so it's a cabling to do these knitted, and see, I just braided one like we would braid our kids, and it's the same yarn, and I think it looks even better with the just twisted a normal braid. So yeah, so the second one will have these ones, and I did have a little bit of bigger yarn, so I went into my stash, and this is a worsted weight that's got a bit of mohair for sure, just because of the texture. But yeah, so I think she's gonna look very good with these longer braids. So I just wanted to just give you a glimpse on this one. Was more work in the sense that you're making the hat as usual, but you are making an I-cord of 17 inches long. And once that, yeah, it is pretty long, 7 inches. And you leave a super long tail, because after that, what you do is you wrap around your I-cord around the hat, and you pin it with those, I always call them light bulb shape pin that you can open up. So you pin it onto the hat, and then you sew it, right? So it sticks there. So there is more work involved into that November Gnome, just in the fact that I cannot go on with the body until I pin down and sew this to the hat, right? Because there's no going back. Once the body is on, it's way too hard to sew this on the exterior. So you're doing the hat, you're doing your I-cord, you are going to pin it, and then we're doing, like every other month, you're going to flip it over, pick up your stitches, and work the body this way, right? All the gnomes are made this way, all our gnomes. But I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what it involves. And the second one that I'm making is going to have a red body. So yeah, so this is one of the mitt, and the way that it works is you're doing a very small I-cord for the thumb. So the thumb is done alone. You're cutting the yarn. You're starting your mitt. So the startup is up here. You're starting the mitt, and then we are going to knit the thumb as we're going down. Then I-cord for the arm. So again, just to give you a little glimpse of what it is. The nose, she introduced that in other pattern, but more into, remember the Jimmy Bean patterns, that she's introducing balls now. I'm doing them just a tad different than hers. I'm honestly using the cast on and the cast off place to secure my yarn. So after that, it's just to bring it there, do 2 knots, and that's it, right? So I honestly like this little ball of nose. So November Gnome is done, December Gnome, and then the year of Gnome will be done. Jimmy Bean, this was the 6th pattern. It is, ta-da! Isn't it cute? It's a house. Yeah, and it's got shingles. and felt for the door and felt for the window. And what I did, instead of sewing them in, I used the like, not the punch needle, it's gonna come back, you know, the little needle that's got the barb, and it's gonna come back to me. But yeah, so the lines that we're seeing is by me just poking, and it does stay very well. I wasn't sure at first it would, but yeah, it's on solid. So I'm even thinking of maybe adding a little bit of decoration either on the door, and at least to put a doorknob on the door. But yeah, so the house is done. And in my stash, I do have cotton candy. So the one that is on the needle at home right now is going to be white, red, and have a red roof. I'm going to use that yarn of that arm. It's kind of it's a solid. I don't know what the composition. It was in my stash again. I'm trying to use the stash, right? That's kind of the aim of this. But yeah, so the roof will be red. It's going to be heavier and sturdier, I'm going to say, than normal wool, just because that one is stiffer. Okay, what other thing I wanted to show you? Oh yeah, the Cloral Shawl. So into the website page of the store, this is sort of the perfect wedding between knitting and crocheting. So there will be crochet into, I'm just going to make sure that I'm not losing any stitch markers. Sorry. So, got a tickle in my throat. So there's a bit, it's not linen stitch. I'm going to say it's kind of a cousin of it, because I just finished my second shawl of the linen stitch from Les Garçons. I forget his name. Vincent, and yeah, it is Maxime. And linen stitch, honestly, I fell in love with it. So this portion here resemble a lot of the linen stitch, but it's not I'm gonna say it's like a half one, because the linen stitch is really more like, it makes everything tight together. So this shawl starts up here. So there's a vein that will go down for the whole portion of the shawl. So garter ridge here with 2 colors. And now there's a third color added on, which is kind of my olive over here. And she calls this section flower. So I haven't seen it yet, because we're, you know, too much at the beginning of it. So I'll bring this back and you can have a bigger peek at, but yeah, so far it's going to be, yeah, it's very nice, very light. I don't have the picture. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's right there. Oh yeah, I put it in here. So you're seeing in my neck, I do have a counter, which is on a string. Works very well. This one is for the sock that is on needles right now. He's right here. Because it's Christmas time. Christmas time is fun to give sock. This is leftover. So what I do is I just start. I've got the same recipe that when I do the sock is 24 rows of rib up here. You're doing the legs for 50 rows. You're turning your heel, and then the foot depends on who you're giving it to. But yeah, so it's leftover, and even small balls, I do put them in there. I use the magic knot, and when I say small balls, I don't know if I can, if I've got, you know, like leftovers, this is quite of an amount, but sometimes I only have this much. And it's going to do a few rows and it's fine. And sometimes I've got a little bit more. So, and sometimes I've got completely different colors. But when you're knitting all of them together, yeah, I love to do that type of sock. So the counter is for this one, right? Like I'm at the 35. And for this person, I need 56 rows. And then I can finish the point. But to get back to the shawl that I was showing you, the other thing that I have is I do have a So I think this one is from Knit Picks. So it is a counter that, no, I cannot put a cord to it, like there's nothing, but there's a piece of metal at the back. So I just put a magnet and I put it in the lid. So it doesn't fall into the couch, it's close to me. So this is the counter for the shawl, actually. And so I'll show you. It's a very nice one, the one that I just showed you. It's Cloral Shawl, and it's this one. Yeah, so I'm in the flower section. This picture is maybe a little bit better. So I'm doing this one here, that I think she calls it the flower. Yeah, it's this section that I'm doing now. So, other than that, it's busy. We added the class on Thursday afternoon, which works very well. The ladies in there are doing the sweater that we're going to cut up to do into a cardigan, the Nelshina. So yeah, and I've got, and she's working on, oh yeah, she's just finishing the Beauceron. Oh, I forgot to bring it down. Oh, I'm so sorry. So the Beauceron is upstairs, the one that's got the slip stitch on, so cute, turned out beautifully. And the other thing that's going on my needles, oh, look at that. It's called the single malt. It's going to be a men's sweater again. So you see this, the side of those stitches. Oh, such a cute. And it's going to be in khaki color. So this one you'll see coming up pretty soon. I'll bring the progress. This is called the single malt. Very pretty. So it's done in Aran weight, or worsted and Aran are very similar, but they want a count of 18 stitches, and the Rios is a good for one because it's from 18 to 22, so I can just do a little swatch, look at the gauge, see if I need to change my needles or not to get the size that I want. And on that note, I'm gonna send you away, and I hope you have a very good Sunday. Today, weather is bizarre, but it's winter. Have a good 2 weeks. Bye-bye.